This was a concept that I had covered on day one as well, but I think it is relevant to sort of touch upon it again for today's session. So, like, which is to first of all try and communicate to you why it is really important to have an investment mindset. It's not just about what you're doing practically, it's about changing the core way in which you are thinking about wealth, value, money, life, and all of these things. Now, again, I want to like just I'm sure you already know some of these things, but it's good to just go over it again and kind of have a deeper understanding of it, which is that unfortunately for most of us, we were given quite a lot of bad ideas in school, which were in some sense counterproductive. Because for 12 to 16 years, a lot of the core concepts that were given was this idea of like you need to be working all the time and you need to be putting in effort all the time, and then you should be getting like some small amount of trickle coming in proportion to the large amounts of work that you're putting in. And subconsciously some of these ideas were driven, and which is how when people are kind of graduating from college or MBA or something like that, they have that mindset only. And even if you consider, because if you think of most children in our country, what is considered to be like successful, what most parents are looking forward to is well, at least a lot of them, is that okay, what if my child can go to IIT and then go to IIM, and then he would be like very successful in some sense. But what they don't consider and what they don't realize is that even if you did actually go to IIT and then go to IIM and then do all of those things, when you get your first job, you would probably be earning about a lakh a month. And which is where, it sounds a bit, uh, because they do say that, okay, the salaries that we're getting is like much higher from say IIM, Ahmedabad or something like that. But what people don't mention is that because I can tell you practically from my own experience, like my first like after I did my MBA, I got placed with Pepsi. And while the salary package was like 19 lakhs an annum, in hand, after you cut the taxes and then you remove all of these other things, you're only getting about a lakh a month. And all the other management trainees who were there along with me were also like from I am Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta, XLRI, and all of these so-called places. But now what also happens is that while you did start at say a lakh a month, your progression is not really so rapid, because the people who were working as my seniors in Pepsi or any of these other places, like all of my classmates are currently mostly working in just all of these different companies, BCG, McKinsey, Ola Electric, or Deloitte, or just all of these places. So even if you have achieved that success that society is like telling you to aim for, and then you have progressed in your career, what is actually going on is like 3 4 5 years down the line also you're probably earning about 2 lakhs a month. And that's like really good. It's like you're probably marketing head for like a small region in some FMCG company, some PNG, something like that. And you progress more, and then you're making probably 3 4 lakhs. And then for people thinking that 3 4 lakhs is like a huge amount, they're like, yeah, it's like, and that is what we are priming children for. This is what we are like telling children, that this is the epitome of success in some sense. But this is unfortunately a really bad mindset, and this is what some people in the country are getting. Like you go to, okay, I am Bangalore, and then you go to some places, because all of my friends are from these places only, and I know them really well, and I know what is going on in their life right now. And on an average, I would say not most of them are earning more than 2 lakhs a month. But now here's the thing, like you have to put in so much of your time, energy, and then you have to you lose so much peace of mind in the process of doing this. And what you're getting has a very strong ceiling, like you can't break through that very easily. And what you're doing essentially is you're swapping time for money in a very inflexible way. So truly, what is being set up for children as something to aspire to and look forward to is actually the worst thing to be doing in life. Because better than being an employee in one of these places, even if you were a freelancer, you still have a bit more freedom and flexibility in life, where you have the ability to, probably live where you want to live, and have some more control over your time. And this is another concept that is often avoided in our society, which is also very, very important to consider. As Abhishek was mentioning, that his main idea is to be happy in life. Because, of course, that is the most important thing. That is why we're doing whatever it is that we're doing. And if you are stuck in a place like doing what you don't enjoy, obviously you cannot be happy. And relatively, if you have moved from being an employee to being a freelancer, where you have locational independence and then you have a bit more control over your time and space and things like that, definitely certain things in life will be a bit better. And also, I explained in detail in the first session where the ability to gain locational independence for yourself is something of immense importance. Because the moment you have that, what money means to you will change. Because 2 lakhs a month in Mumbai and 2 lakhs a month in some offbeat location in some village in India have very different significance. But the quality of life can change quite a lot. Like you don't necessarily want to be in a position just because of whatever salary that you're breathing in pollution and exposed to like radiation and have like the lowest quality of fruits. Like you can aspire for better things in life. And again, it's very important to understand that when we're talking about wealth, money is only one part of it. It's an important part of it. I don't say that to disregard it. It is very important. Have a lot of money. But having a lot of money does not mean you're wealthy. Because wealth really means having a really high quality of life. And to have a high quality of life, money is an important part, but it's not the end. Right. So in that sense, if you're able to move from being an employee to, like, say, a freelancer, it's definitely progress. But then if you're a business owner or you own a system where you have something that works for you, you took the time to create a system. Because again, you need to understand that the society that we live in, most people are not thinking about any of these things. People are just caught in like a very narrow track, and they're just going ahead and living their whole life in this track. And the things that I've, like what all I've explained to you in the last 2 sessions, it is not really so complex. It is not so difficult to do. But if you're a solopreneur, one of the things that you will need in life is discipline, which is why the first part when we covered was also this whole aspect of planning tomorrow today and executing your most important thing. Because this is one thing where a solopreneur might end up making major mistakes in life, because you might be in a position where you might just put things off. But if you do, like, if you're in an office and you have a manager who's like breathing down your neck and making sure that you're executing on certain things, like you'll do it. But if you're a solopreneur and you're not accountable to anyone, like you have to have systems in place so that what you're thinking of is getting executed and you're getting the results that you want in life. Right. Now, the next thing is about being an investor. Now, this is where also there is a lot of mental baggage associated with the idea of being an investor. Again, I would say a lot of damage has been done by school and society to a certain extent, where the whole concept of investing kind of is made to seem very like out there. It's like very outlandish. It's very woo woo. It's like, oh, I'm not good with finance. I don't understand this stuff. Actually, it is not complex at all. It is really very simple stuff. You just need to have the ability to recognize patterns. That's it. Like, even if you're buying a house, like, are you buying it for yourself or are you buying it as an investment? And what should you do? Should you buy a house for yourself or should you invest in property? Now, this is also important question, but people unfortunately don't think about these things. And when I'm telling you to develop an investor mindset, what I'm currently encouraging you to do is think about these things. Think about your decisions. Because even if we're talking about a house, for example, because if your end objective is happiness and freedom, like you just want to be, if that's what you're looking for, then possibly when you're looking for a house, don't think of it as a place where you're going to live. See what makes the most amount of investment sense, and for yourself, live somewhere else, like rent a place, because then you have more freedom. You have the freedom to move around. You have the freedom to try out different places. You could live in Himachal for some time. You could live in Goa for some time. You could live in Kodai for some time. You could live in Kerala for some time. You could live in Madagascar for a while. You could live in Nepal for a while. Like, why get married to your house? You're in a much better position if you make a really good investment decision and your house itself is generating some amount of money and you yourself are locationally free. Because it's important to understand that it is not just your office that is kind of tying you down and making you stuck to a certain place and things like that. Oftentimes people themselves make these decisions and choices and then end up getting stuck. And the reason is they just don't think about these things. If you think about it, you will make different decisions. If you think about what is it that you want from a house, you make different decisions. Unfortunately, people don't think it through, make the decision, and then go ahead and get caught up in that for the next 2 to 3 decades. These are very important because all of you are anyways going to be investing, whether it is in real estate or in stocks and bonds or whatever. Now, what I'm trying to tell you is that if you think of the concept of investing, even in something like real estate, for example, what you're really doing is pattern recognition. Don't not think, don't make emotional decisions when it comes to this. Observe what is going on in the world. Where is the movement happening? What are the current trends? For example, if more people are gaining locational independence, more people are able to work online, that means that has certain implications for the real estate market. If more people, like if weather in a certain city is good and that is attracting people, that has some implications. If you can see certain growth trajectory for a city, or if you can see that cities are actually becoming pretty toxic these days, or like what are the trajectories, what are the patterns that you are noticing? It's that simple. You need to see these things. They're all around you. You're seeing them. It's just you're not recognizing them in your mind. If you do, like, because most people don't think of themselves as investors. They just think of themselves as like, oh, I'm working with Infosys. No, but then you're also making these decisions. Like, think about it. Right. So, which is where it is really important to understand what is going on in the world, observe these patterns, analyze them, and then make your decisions accordingly. Now, as an investor, first thing that I would highly encourage all of you to do is think in terms of net worth. It doesn't matter where you are in life. Like, it really doesn't matter. Like, you could be having like 10 rupees in your pocket, but that's okay. Like, you can say that this 10 rupees is my net worth, because where your attention flows, like where that's where energy goes. Whatever you observe will expand. If you start tracking your net worth will expand. Well, of course, as a solopreneur, you're also working on your monthly revenue streams. But as you give energy to the concept of a net worth, that will also expand. Now, your net worth is basically a sum total of all the assets that you have minus all the liabilities that you have. Now, again, don't get intimidated by any of the words that I'm using. They're very, very simple. Like, do you have a house? Do you have a fixed deposit? Do you have some land? Do you have a car? Do you have like some credit card bills? Like, that's it. Make good decisions. And the moment you're thinking in terms of net worth, also now you can think in terms of portfolio. Split it. Believe me, I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to just start thinking in these lines, because it's only when you, for like, your reality is a reflection of your inner space. If you don't start thinking about these things in your head, they will never really manifest in your reality. But as soon as you start thinking about them in your head, you will start to see certain things happening. And now, if you're thinking in terms of net worth, even if you have like 1,000 rupees, manage it well. Because if you are a good money manager, the universe will give you more to manage. Another mistake that I've noticed is people somehow think that when they have like a crore, then they will manage it properly. Then I will think about managing it. If you think like that, you'll never have a crore. Whatever you have right now, become a good custodian of that. Be smart about it. Be wise about it. And if you do that, whatever you have will grow. Now, obviously, there are different kinds of asset classes, and quite a few of you would be like familiar with these. There are like things like fixed deposits and PPFs and different things like that. Precious metals is also another category to think about, and I will explain why a bit later. Now, equity is basically if you're investing in some stock. Quite a few stocks are like quite overvalued these days for obvious reasons once I get into them, because there's like huge amounts of money printing, but I will get into this topic in some time in more detail. Land and real estate is one of the biggest investments that most people make in their life. Now, cryptocurrencies is something that probably all of you have heard of, but most people that I know have personally not explored this topic in too much detail. And before we even go into cryptocurrencies, it is actually very important to understand what is actually going on right now in our existing fiat currency. Like, what is the foundation? What is the background of what is happening? Because without really appreciating and understanding what is happening right now, you will not be in a position to understand what you're being subjected to and how you're being stolen from. So I will go into some of that stuff as well. Like, I will go into explaining what is currently going on. And obviously, one of the most important things that you can invest in is in your own mind and in your skills, because you need to that is the most valuable thing that you have. Because all of these asset classes that I'm talking about, like they can somehow be stolen from you. Your mind and your skills cannot be stolen from you. Like the government can someday freeze your bank account. Like, they could seize your precious metals, or maybe there's a war or an invasion, and then whatever property that you have, it's like you have this huge 100 acres of land, and then you've got like a palatial house on that. But now there's an invading army and you have to leave that and you have to go. So you might lose all of these things, but the skills that you have and the mindset that you have, that is something that is going to stay with you. And if you have a mind that is capable of creating wealth, it is capable of managing wealth, it does not matter even if you lose everything that you have. From like 1 crore, you come to zero, or 10 crores, you come to zero. But if you have that mindset and those skill sets, within no time, you will make back those 10 crores that you lost in whatever way. So I cannot emphasize on this also enough, that your mindset and your skills are actually one of the most valuable things that you have.